and our voices just sound much better this way.
I know, it sounds nice and intimate. The problem I have a lot of the time is that I'm too loud and I get animated. So is this a comfortable distance?
Yes.
Oh my! See what? Oh, see, yep. Can't get too excited.
Guys, welcome to this one time. Today, my guest is Alexandria Hunter. I.e. or AKA Statements by Alex, and the very, very famous, incredibly famous, like ungodly famous Starletta.
Oh my God! If Starletta was here, she would just be so grateful.
I feel like she's gonna walk across, the sidewalk here any moment.
Actually, she dropped me off earlier. Yeah, she had some errands to run.
Well, thank you for the cup of Joe. Going to grab it from Cartel next door to the Desmond, which we are recording out of. Thank you so much to the Desmond, specifically Harry and Colin, that have helped us set up this morning, showcasing the bar here. Beautiful downtown Phoenix, where you host on Wednesdays.
Yep.
An open mic competition. What's the prize?
Well, it switches every week, but every week consistently so far, it's been $100 for your best 2 minutes of comedy. So I'll just tell all the viewers.
$100 for your best 2 minutes?
I know.
I mean, my best 2 minutes cost me 2 kids, 18 years. Hey.
Well, we can't argue with that. Damn. What's I was about to be like, I'm like, damn, that's a long commitment. 18 years, wow, for one potentially bad decision. I mean, hopefully your situation was okay. Hopefully you like the mother. It's a good co-parenting situation.
Yes. Oh, well, it is one of the toughest things to do besides stand-up.
That's pretty tough too, and don't I know it, because now I'm observing it every week. Yeah,
right. That's been interesting for you to see it, right, as a performer, to see that aspect, because you use in your acts, you're very physical. It's wardrobe and accessories and all that, and most of stand-up is literally just the person up there and just the words coming out of your mouth.
That's right.
So it's a different animal, right, where you don't have to rely on, a prop. But not to take away anything from prop comics, because that's its own monster in itself. Mm-hmm. And it comes with a little bit of a stigma where it's like, oh, you have an act or you have this. But people forget. It's like Andrew Dice Clay started as a character.
Really?
Yeah. The trucker guy, what's his name? The plumber?
I know you're talking about Larry the Cable
Larry
Guy.
the Cable Guy.
Not a plumber, right?
Name any blue collar job.
I know. We all know what
was going around it. Yeah, but those all started off as those characters. And then that's all you know them for the most part, especially like the common folk. But yeah, it's its own thing, right? But I distracted you, so you have the prize has been $100.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Back on track. I
know that you're gonna have hopefully it won't be too hard to reel me in. That's something I've been trying to check myself for lately, is my ADD not going off in like 20 different tangents. But yes, $100 for your best 2 minutes. So a couple weeks ago, we did a Freedom for Strays takeover, which is, as you know, because you modeled for Freedom for Strays. Freedom for Strays. Oh, yeah. You're a very good model, by the way. By the way, don't make me ask you another question, because I'm about to be off on another tangent. Yes. How's your modeling career going? We'll get to that later. Okay, so Freedom for Strays is the clothing company and the soon-to-be nonprofit. Yes. So when I first started that, it was like a branch of Statements by Alex, and I was like, I always wanted to do something with the dogs with it, but I needed something to sell, so to support the hopeful sanctuary someday. So that's why I went to the thrift store and get all my clothes from the thrift store and remake it into something cool.
Yes.
So that was 1 week. That was a $50 gift certificate from me, and then the other $50 comes from the Desmond. So thank you very much. And then the first couple weeks it was cash. Last week it was Indie Signs who donated. So it's a surprise this week. I don't know where the $50 is coming from this time, but we are last week. Cade. Oh my gosh, is it Cade McCoy or Cade Richards? What's his last name?
What's he going by these days?
I don't know.
I think it has to be McCoy.
Okay.
I think it's McCoy.
He was our winner last week, so he won a 10-minute spot at our upcoming show at Rips.
Oh, nice.
So,
Rips.
Yeah,
it's a cool little spot.
So I think we're going to be doing that the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And the Rips show is when? Like, is that like a normal day of the week, like a regular thing, or is it just like, hey, this is the event this month?
Well, we don't know yet. We actually waiting on Ben to get
confirmation on those details.
Yeah. He's got all the connects.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well,
I got some of the connects. Okay.
We all have connects. We all have connects. Some of ours or some of other people's, not ours, like I'm in there, just hold a little bit more weight than others.
It's true. It's true. I was going to say, so thank you, Ben's World Pod, Benny Villanueva, for setting this up with the Desmond for us for Omega X4, because it's turned into a really cool event.
Yeah, and what's cool about what you guys are doing, it's very avant-garde in a sense of like, you know, making these events pop up and really quick. I mean, it gains traction really fast. You get a lot of engagement and involvement in it. And, you know, for you guys to be wanting to put on events as you are, and it really forms a community. It does. You guys have a very communal aspect to what you guys have going on here. Like Adam, I'm going to say shout out to Adam. Adam Hadlock, because he might see this. And when I popped in this one time, I know we kind of connected, but I was like, I don't really know him. I don't know. I have never introduced myself. And you know, every time I see him, like in his post, I'm like, I should have shook his hand that day, you know, because he seems like just the coolest dude.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
He'd shake the fuck out of your hand.
Yeah, yeah. And I know we kind of like did this, and I'm just like, okay, I got to go home, you know. And I was like, oh, man, I should have shook his hand and been like, hey, dude, you know, I like your content. And his personality online. It's very, very cool. And he played it super cool here. Anyways, Adam, shout out to you, man. You're a cool dude.
Yes, yes, he is. He's what we call an Alpha Omega. Whenever somebody steps up in Omega, we call them the Alpha. So he... I was going to say, he said he was making some very nice posts about our recent bikini car wash that I organized, but if it wasn't for him and Ben and Matt Weir, who all showed up, and Sound Experiences with Matt, the other Matt, Alien Matt, as you guys at the Desmond know him, if it wasn't for everyone else that showed up to that event, wouldn't have been possible. So thank you, guys, everybody that has helped.
Yeah, and now I was supposed to be there, so I still need a time and place to debut my two-piece bikini.
Exactly.
That,
I think you do enough of that on Instagram already. I seen your shorts.
I know. Well, somebody lit me up the other day when I was posting a video of me running, and you can see like the farmer's tan on these, and they're like, you need shorter shorts to take over that tan. I was like, you know what? You're right. It's this fine line of people who's like, those are too short. Oh, those are too long. This
really? Is that something that happens to you often?
No.
People commenting on your shorts?
One comment is often enough for me. I'm overwhelmed by one engagement notification. Oh no, what am I to do?
Now, where do you get your shorts? I have to ask. Like, where do guys shop for short shorts?
All of mine have been from the Walmart clearance section.
Nuh-uh,
okay?
For real?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Well, damn, you make Walmart look really good.
Those yellow ones, the yellow ones I was wearing are comically short. So the most recent one, we got those for one of my workout buddies. He was moving. And he was really known for wearing really colorful and really short shorts. And so we all got like the smallest shorts we could get in yellow. So we all had essentially the same shorts, and we surprised him at his going away workout party. Well, like, what meatheads do we sound like? A going away workout party?
Damn, that's intense. You guys must work out all the time.
They do. I don't work out with them as much as I used to. But we did. It was the workout, and then there was a surprise roast afterwards. So we all went over to my buddy's house and we roasted him and the whole group. So
fun.
It was cool. It was definitely cool. But that is my shortest short, and it's If I'm not wearing those underwear inside that it comes with, we might have a wardrobe malfunction. You know, just like Janet Jackson, I am a JJ as well. So.
Speaking of which, I heard that was... Oh, wait, hold on. Am I seriously about to talk about something that we all talked about in, like, 2000s? What year did that happen, by the way? Was that, like, 2000s?
It was February 13th, 2004.
Was it really?
I don't know.
Oh, my God. I was like, was it pre-2006, though? Like, pre-high school?
Oh, yeah.
Was it, like, a 10? I feel like I was, like, 10
I want to say it was, like, between 2002 and 2004.
Okay.
I want to say that's when it went down.
I was about to say, apparently it was planned, because in the song he says, I'm going to have you naked by the end of the song.
Yeah.
And then he did.
And then he did it. And she got blamed.
I know, right?
He's the acting party.
And that's right. That's what it was. That's why I brought it up, because he just had the DUI, and everybody's throwing shade at him for the DUI. Speaking of DUI. I
have a DUI. Get it together, man. That's right. Yeah. No, which I'm still dealing with, unfortunately. That's some of the shit I've been going through, is that, listen, guys, you need to follow up and make sure people are doing their jobs. Your dentist, your accountant, your pastor, any work that you're doing, document who you talk to, when you talk to them, because I got fucked. I went into the MVD and asked the person attending, can I get my IID removed, my breathalyzer? It's been 6 months. I qualified for deferment. The person gave me a verbal yes. I was ecstatic. I walked right the fuck out.
Oh.
Didn't get it in writing.
Oh, no.
And apparently I was in violation. I wasn't supposed to get it. I still had like another week, apparently.
Oh, no.
And I didn't realize that. I went about my happy life. I'm like, oh, this is all behind me. I did all the work. I did all the right things. But the shop that installed it and or the app or the company that I used for the breathalyzer reported it wrong to begin with. So the MVD never saw that I even had one in.
Damn.
Because when I talked to them 2 separate times, they were like, yeah, we don't see it, but you should probably keep it in, like, for when the courts get their shit together. That's the other thing. The courts do not have their shit together.
Speaking of the courts, let's talk about the Department of Homeland Security.
Oh, shit.
Have I told you about my most recent side gig?
Well, you're trying to get some BLM land, right?
And just to clarify, that's not Black Lives Matter. That's what I thought it was when I first heard it. Nothing against it. BLM is Bureau of Land Management, which means that it is land that you can. Well, actually, so I'm not trying to get it because I don't know if you can legally. I don't know if you can buy BLM land. I thought that was like
anything is for sale, Alex. If you don't know this, anything ever in the world is for sale.
Is it?
Yeah. You either have to come with the right price, or you just have to be like a wickedly good, silver-tongued devil.
I was gonna say like a psychopath. Yeah.
Well, yes. One and the same.
Yeah. Touche. All right, I stand corrected.
So what are they up your ass now?
Well,
they're like, hey, who's this crazy chick that wants to buy land from the government?
Actually, it has nothing to do with that.
Oh shit!
I know. That's going on too. Benny is a notary, and he brought me along as a witness. And the first couple jobs we had were in Florence, which is like an hour away from here. In the first. Am I allowed to talk about the Department of Homeland Security? I don't know. Are we going to get in trouble? I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. But at the same time, this is going to like...
Maybe they're asking for the trouble.
Yeah.
Have you thought about that, Alex?
Well, yes. Maybe I should just say something, okay? But they forgot to send me in with the name tag and then try to be like, where's your name tag? And I'm like, I never got one. And they're like, we're about to like get us in trouble because we didn't have a name tag.
Now you're trespassing?
Yeah. And then they realized they didn't give me one. And that was the first week we went in. What else happened on the other weeks?
You went in there and the person handing out the name tags was like, well, this is the very famous Starletta, so everybody knows who that is.
Obviously. Gotta be careful on the volume of Starletta. See, that's why I get yelled at for talking too loud on the mic.
I got you. So you walk in, you're in Florence, no name badge. How dare you?
Oh. But first, before the name badge, I showed up in bike shorts, long bike shorts, okay, like the longer, above the knee bike shorts, but not too above the knee that they're considered short shorts. But that, and then a fully black T-shirt, and then boots. So I was pretty covered. And they said I can't wear tights there, so I had to go put on Ben's clothes, which were like a big black suit jacket and some black pants that were very hot and thick for the because probably not summer appropriate.
So they're like, hey, you're not dressed appropriately to request anything from us. Is that basically what they said?
Yeah, they're like, to go inside, I had to cover up more.
Wow, is this Saudi Arabia? What are we doing here?
And then,
if Joan Jett walks in wearing exactly what you're wearing, do they tell her, hey, come back in slacks and come back in a Hillary Clinton, 3-piece?
Exactly. There appears to be double standards going on here.
Yeah.
I've seen some tight pants on some dudes before. I bet they don't call them tights when a guy wears it.
Not guilty.
Speaking of, oh God, what else was I going to say? I feel like something else happened, and I totally forget. There was another faux pas that Ben and I have just been like, are you, like, what's going on
with what you guys are trying to pull off?
The Department on Homeland Security. There's just something else weird that happened. Now I can't remember, but the moral of the story is, so you're saying that, what was that, the DMV or BMV?
The MVD.
MVD.
Which changed, I don't know when, but DMV just rolls off the tongue.
I know.
MVD is like we're in the upside down. That's what it is.
Oh.
Yeah, now we're in the upside down.
So I don't know. I have a theory. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, but I feel like America's kind of falling apart because it seems like this is common. Like I thought this was like, I had a rough day this morning because we were talking about this. I know. Thank you.
It's gonna be okay.
before the podcast started about the weed article that came out this morning.
Oh, that's right. Not our weed.
Did you see it?
I didn't see it, but you were telling me about it, that there's high traces of like these chemicals that we don't want to have in our clean weed. Mm-hmm. I think that's the byproduct of just scaling to the masses. There's an issue. There's just an issue once something gets so big. That's why like farmers markets, that's why like small batch this, small batch that is just more sought out after. But eventually even those places, they get so big, they have to mass produce, that now you start cutting corners. You need to make certain product last longer. You have high yields that you need to account for, because now you got investors and you got so many people that you are now employing that are on your livelihood. So now you got to keep up with the demand. And it's I think that's just the nature of scaling up. And I think if you ask anybody throughout time, everybody's been fucking up. Every government has always been fucking up, especially if you're not the party in charge. No matter how far back you go. I think now it's just, we think we have so much information at our fingertips, but it can lead to just more distractions, more, creating a murky water with it, with that information. And I think that we feel like we know better, and we should. How did people not know better now? But it's just the human condition to just operate off of ego and momentum and just previous experiences.
I was about to say, what do you even call it? Because I had like a whole emotional experience that happened ever since I saw the article. And I was thinking, I'm like, maybe there's a stand-up bit somewhere in this. But I've been, I was sober for the better part of 7 years, and I did a lot of like 12-step recovery groups to like stay that way, because I've found, me personally, I have a hard time staying sober off anything when your whole environment is just people like shoving it in your face. Not
shoving it, but it's readily available. Yeah. It's like right there. If I wanted it, it's just right there.
Yep. And then you're like, I don't know, also trying to be on the same mental level as people. So it's, I don't know.
That is true. You want to match people's energy. Yeah. You want to meet them where they are in that sense. Because I think that's maybe, you consider yourself an empath?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so there you go.
Yep.
So now you're trying to, let me really level with this person and for lack of better words, take on what they're doing. And so part of that is to get on their level.
100%.
Yeah, imagine being around drunk people and you're not drunk. You're just like, ew.
It's like not as, it's really, I can do it. I did it for a long time, but it's like, but for me, I gotta get out like after an hour. I usually am, I don't know, you need it. You can take it in smaller doses.
Yeah, because you're social, but everybody has their social battery.
That's right.
And some people know how to drain it faster than others. Like some people are like leaving your phone out in the sun, where they're just beating down on you. So you read this article.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Fucked you up.
Yeah, thank you. Just reel it back. My ADD is so bad.
No, I'm partly to blame.
But ADD is so fun. You can have so many colorful conversations and an hour later get back to the main point. But, okay, so the article, the LA Times, quick side question. Do you think that's a reputable source?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know these days what's a reputable source. I think if you can find 3 to 5 other articles on it and then just make your gauge at that point.
Yep. That's what I always do. I always read a bunch. So I haven't had a chance to do additional research yet. But anyways, that was and what I found out was that, okay, so I woke up at 1:30 in the morning because I went to bed at 7 last night because I'm on this really weird sleep schedule. So I was tossing and turning, trying to find something on YouTube to watch and occupy my mind. And then I came across that article where they were talking about the LA Times and how everything has 60 times the legal amount of insecticides and whatnot. And it was talking about Stizzies and all these brands that I've been, taking hits off of when people have them at a party. Yep. I usually just stick to the Jars House brand or maybe the Cheech and Chong pre-rolls. But even those are making it sound like the pre-rolls and the papers, rolling papers, everything's bad and we don't. So I don't know. So anyways, my whole crisis of consciousness was I got to stop smoking weed because I've been thinking about it for a while now because it's hard to stop when you're still productive and you're still getting, somewhat decent results in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's part of kind of goes into what you're saying too. I feel like I'm the problem because, and people like me because it's like we know something's bad for us and here's some evidence and then you know that it's bad for you, but you don't really have a strong enough reason to stop, or maybe it's just easier not to, or your body's already addicted, so then you don't. But yeah, I was like telling myself all morning how I'm going to go to AA again.
Yeah.
It's like, no more weed. And then it was like the universe was like testing me or something because out of nowhere, this drawer broke open, like my weed drawer.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is so crazy.
Whoa.
My drawer broke open, and then out of nowhere, this container that still had weed in it like came, and I'm out of weed. So I was like, oh, it's perfect timing. The universe is like on my side to quit. And then I had like a little container that was like just enough for like, you know, maybe like a couple hits or whatever. And I was like, oh, it's fresh weed. And I'm like, this has been sitting here for months.
Alex, smoke me.
That's exactly what happened.
Put me in your lungs.
Oh, God, when you say it like that.
See? Isn't life so much better now? Oh.
Yes and no. Sometimes it just like dulls me down, and I still do it anyways. That's the crazy thing. I think I'm just a creature of habit.
You know, yeah, well, that, and I mean, you know, I'm in that sense like that stupid meme where it's like, I need to relax. I need to have a self-care day. And it's like, how can I be relaxing more productively? You know, you do need just time to just veg out.
Yeah.
You know, to decompress and all that. I think just the frequency that we do it, like I'm the same. I've been pretty much an everyday smoker, you know, for like the last, like, especially ever since I haven't been drinking.
Yeah.
And I miss having a good, just, you know, whiskey, tequila, just neat, especially while I'm working. Like when I'm editing this stuff, like something about just sipping on an old man drink, you know, like I'm fucking, you know, I think of like Ernest Hemingway, you know, where they all fucking drank and smoked, and it's just like, it's just what you do in your study, in your library, right? I don't know. It does put me in a state of like, okay, like I'm working. And I maybe because, again, habit was I did a lot of my work by sipping on it, you know, so how much of it is still kind of like I'm associating the two.
Yes.
But the weed I need to slow down because it has been making me really lax with, you know, getting some shit done. Because I was like, oh, well, I'm doing it to write bits, to be really creative with all my stuff, because I'm like, the weed expands my mind. I find other things and angles that I wouldn't necessarily find elsewhere. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've had to pinch myself from not saying it like 2 additional times. It's like my favorite thing to say.
It's a ton of people's.
I know.
Oh, did you order a package from Amazon to be delivered to the Desmond?
I didn't.
Yeah.
But you can come drop that off at my door.
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
That's a pretty hot UPS guy.
I don't know.
Let's see if he wants to come on the mic.
No.
Be like, hey, dating. What's the dating game?
It's dating game.
Oh.
Listen,
He's fit. Hey, he's got a job. He pays well. There's a pension. Yeah. He's fit. He's out here sweating, so you know he's got the stamina.
Ooh. Yeah. Yep.
And he knows how to handle boxes.
You make a lot of good points here.
Yeah.
Although
he's getting some last looks over here, Alex.
I was gonna say.
And he's gone.
All right.
That was your knight in brown shining armor.
Oh my God! I thought you said. I don't know what I thought you said. Never mind. So we're just not gonna say that. Brown shining armor. Yeah. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyways.
Whip out that Excalibur, my man. What were we saying? Oh, the weed. Oh yeah, you're slowing down on the weed. Yeah.
Yep, slowing down on the weed. Because I was feeling like a crackhead this morning because I'm like, oh, I got a little bit here. I wonder if I have any in my other places that I normally have it. But it's like weird because I'll go a couple days without it and then I like don't miss it. But then if I start back up again, it's like when I'm high, I want to stay high because it feels good and it's fun. It's like you can see things from a different perspective. So I think for me, I'm just trying to take a little break right now. And I've learned I got to tell myself like to tell yourself that you're going to quit something forever almost is like setting yourself up to fail. I think the
you're
biggest,
aiming for perfection.
Yep. And I think the best thing I got out of all the years I spent in the 12-step recovery groups is like one day at a time and just focus on today and never say never.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, because if you're shooting for perfection, I mean, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot because you're going to fall off. The whole thing is like to get back up and continue. I mean, it's the underdog story. Nobody likes a story that somebody gets it all right out the gate.
That's true.
And they just freaking had everything going for them.
Was kind of what happened to Starletta.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that why people don't like Starletta? I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I'm slipping. My headphones are falling off.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
The backstory, the Starletta back. Is there going to be a VH1 behind the music?
Actually, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's going to be my greatest work yet, because
Yes.
you guys haven't heard Starletta's backstory.
No. Did she get her back blown out? It's like that's that backstory. No.
I get it.
So, you play guitar and you sing. Do you have Starletta songs?
Yes.
I don't know if I've come across one yet.
You haven't heard Dick Pic?
No.
Shall we play it? Can we play it? Or is that... It's only 1 minute long.
It's
And we can always play it after, but it's...
Yeah.
Dick Pic. It's my most famous song.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Is
it on YouTube?
It is
Spotify?
actually not. So I'm trying to figure out where to release it because, since I have... a problem with the Department of Homeland Security and weed and the pesticides they're putting in our food. And now I'm finding out that the motor Department of Vehicles is not on...
Well, that's nothing new. That one's nothing. That's on me.
That's true. They were never really that organized. But I mean, like... So anyways, all these things, I'm like, well, why... Like Spotify, it's another big corporation. Everybody's just doing it, and everybody's just accepting pennies, and the artists aren't getting paid what they're worth. I don't think, unless, I don't know, maybe some of them are. I don't know. But, like, I feel like I know people who have, like, millions of plays. And,
like, plays, and like, they're getting pennies. You are. And that's an artist. I mean, you just strive for exposure and all that. I mean, the one thing about Spotify that's really good is their recommendation lists, are on point. So what's cool about that is that now I am introduced to an artist I wouldn't otherwise have found. And I like to support live, performances and shows and events. So, like, when they're in town, I'll go, So that's how artists are making, their money. If they're not in a place where the venue's taking, like, a bunch of their extra shit. Because everybody's just hurt. Everywhere is hurt. Venues are hurting. Bar owners are hurting. Club owners. Everybody is hurt, and the artists are. And it's just like, what pennies can we scrape together? Who's gonna take what chunk of the pie, right?
Yes. So, which is a great segment to my question for you. I'd love to pick your brain on this. That being said, because I've observed kind of the same things, it just seems like a lot of people, like, the economy is just having an effect on everybody. And then I think I saw a TikTok video or something where somebody brought their same grocery list from, like, a couple years ago, and it was like 4 times or something.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I believe it. I mean, everything goes up.
And I went to get tea the other day. Ginger tea is my saving grace. It's like the best thing for tummy aches ever. The Yogi tea brands, or the Nature's Medicine.
Ginger tea?
Ginger.
Oh, ginger. Okay.
Ginger tea, it actually makes me neutral. No ginger. It's ironic.
Ginger's great. Ginger root is great. So you're using it in the capacity to kind of calm your stomach down?
Yes,
right?
and inflammation. So
fuck yeah.
but yeah, even that went up. It used to be like 3 something, and now it is like $5.97. I was like, almost didn't get it because it's the principle of it. I'm like, really? I'm like, everything's just going up more and more. Why am I paying? I'm sorry, I sound like a crotchety old man. I'm not going to be negative, okay? I'm trying to be more positive, so I'm just going to stop myself right there before I speak more negative things into existence.
That's some maturity there.
I know.
It is good, I mean, we need to vent, but you need to also recognize when it's like, am I inviting the very thing I'm venting about?
Yes.
People, have you thought about that?
No, that's so true. I realize that we actually are. So I've literally, like, always tried to stop myself when I rant, because I love ranting. It's just fun to rant, and it's fun, especially if you're, like, sarcastic. I love being dry, you know. So ranting is fun.
That's not what she said.
Ah! You're right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a muscle that needs to get flexed. So you need to do your ranting Kegels, guys. All right.
Yeah, make sure you're doing those ranting Kegels. But what I realized too, I think this plays out in relationships a lot, and I was doing this a lot when I was, like, dating somebody new, because I, like, went through a period where I was what's the best way to put it? I was in a relationship for the better part, not with the same person. Like, I literally went through this period where I was trying to find myself, so I was, like, dating a lot of people, and I feel like that helped. It aided me in helping to find myself. But anyways, I was, dating a lot of people and doing a lot of casual dating. And oh God, that's what I'm talking about. This is why I'm trying to stop smoke weed, because I just got distracted. I'm like, why was I talking about my dating? There was a point.
Where do we go off? Hold on. Speaking negativity into existence, and you're becoming a better person.
Yes. So what I found myself doing every time I'd meet somebody new, we'd be both repeating stories of what happened with our last ex.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you get in the honeymoon phase with somebody, and you're like, oh, everything's like amazing. They're never gonna hurt me like my ex did. And then a couple months later, or a couple weeks later, depends, however fast you want to turn and burn in those relationships. Then you find that you're doing the same thing that you guys were both like ranting and bitching about.
Yeah, and also because you didn't bother doing any work to get past that and to analyze, okay, what was my part, what was my role in why this relationship didn't work out, And I mean, to me, timing is everything.
Yes.
Timing is everything. Like, I think, I could, have a relationship with almost anyone, but the timing is the issue, and you're at points, you're at two different places in life, and if the right person just needs to come along at the right time, that's for you to you can hear information all you want, but if you're not ready to receive that info, it doesn't mean shit.
That's so true. Yeah.
So you got to do that work.
You're right. I know, and it's always a pleasure when you meet somebody else who does. How do you like to do the work? Like, do you journal? Do you what's your version of doing the work?
I hike mountains and beat off.
I'm sorry. The beating off part, is that really doing the work, or is that just putting a Band-Aid on it?
Oh, it's a... What are you talking about? Oh, beatboxing. No, it's fine. No,
beatboxing.
No, beating off is totally just a Band-Aid. I mean,
it's definitely
maybe
a Band-Aid. Okay.
One of the times you do it is actual self-care, but...
Dude, can we really just masturbate ourselves into being enlightened? I'm not so sure about that, Juan. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, posting that clarity. Come on.
By yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's who knows you better than you.
So I don't know if it's the same for girls. No, it is. It is.
No,
actually.
my I guess where I fall short in that is that I occupy myself with activities to maybe avoid the deeper, heavier lifting that needs to be done when you do that. And because I addressed it about a month ago, I acknowledged that I have been depressed, continuing from what has transpired the last 5 years of my life, right? And where I'm at and where I wish I would be. And just my day-to-day stuff, everything I'm dealing with, and I'm just shitting, being shit on. But a lot of it is my own decisions in that sense, So what have I been doing? Oh, I've been, active. I've been hiking and working out and doing comedy shows and trying to act, and got a second job and hitting the podcast hard. But what I've noticed is I go to work and I'm just I don't want to be here. I don't find it fulfilling anymore. I'm a sourpuss to be around at work. And I'm just man, I am depressed, but I didn't realize that this is what it looks like this is a form as well. I'm thinking, oh, dark, close the shades, drinking, just binge watching TV, sitting on the couch. And it's oh, no, that's my form is this other thing.
Yes. And I was just about to say, here's another question. Is the problem with you, or is it the fact that we're living in a society where we're being forced to, in a lot of cases, we're either getting your typical job where you're working 8 hours in a day, typically, right? Your typical 9 to 5, or in the case of many people in this economy, people are working 80 hours a week, and then they're depressed, and then they're on these medications that are destroying your gut health, not to mention that we have all these foods that have trace amounts of pesticides and chemicals and all the things we were talking about, and things like insects that have been shown when you consume them in higher amounts, there's traces of arsenic in there. So, and insects, I think it's in Red 40 food dye, I want to say, M&Ms and crunchy candies and stuff like that, which sucks because that's stuff is delicious. But if you add all, we were talking earlier before the podcast started, all these little things that we do that add up, and
adds up.
And I honestly, I had this realization 7 years ago before I got sober. I was in the same situation. I was at a marketing job, and everything on paper was good. I had money, I had was paying for my bills, had my own place, it wasn't, I was going to say, not that cushy marketing job, but
but it was a steady income. You knew where you were going to be, what to expect, and you can plan out, you know, but it was just like the motions draining, right?
It's soul sucking. And I remember when I was learning about Buddhism, I think one of the things that I think it was a Buddhist teacher or somebody that said the human spirit, our souls, like we need set like 8 hours a day to just do nothing. And most people don't have that, because after you work your 8 hours, like we've got families, and then we got to shower, then we got to meal prep, then we got to work out, then we got to shower. Did I say that already?
You might need a shower twice. It is the summer.
Yeah, it's true. Not to mention, or if you want to have a social life, then go out with your friends. So then by the time you do all that, like when I was working a full-time 9-to-5 like corporate job, I would get off, well, not to mention the traffic that you sit through for an hour getting there. Then you have an hour lunch break that I didn't want to take. I would have rather just worked through the day and get the fuck home. But then you have an hour car ride home sitting through traffic, and then you got to do all the other things. It's like, do I want to shower? Do I want to go to happy hour? Or do I want to meal prep so I don't have to, but I really need the extra 15 minutes of sleep in the morning. And it's just no way to live. Like, of course you're depressed. Like, I was depressed, and I wish, like, that's part of the thing. That's why I'm like really passionate and excited to get Freedom for Strays started, because don't you think everybody has a skill? And I feel like if you had enough people that got together and they had some kind of common goals, or like got along enough, like everybody could kind of contribute their skill. Like, hey, I got a nice camera. Hey, I got, I can design a cover for you. And you know what I mean? Like, you can, like, I would think that more people could like share stuff. Like, hey, I can grow food. I can cook or whatever.
I think we lose that in the city. I feel like a lot of people almost forget like what they're capable of. But you would think it's the opposite. You're in the city, like anything is capable, right? But I think maybe this is just me looking at things where it's like that saying where it's like, oh, somebody should do something about that. And it's like, oh, wait, I am somebody, right? And from a small town, you don't have many people that are willing to put their hand up for it. But in the city, it's like when you see a car broken down on the freeway, you're like, oh, well, somebody's going to call the cops to help them out, or somebody's going to stop by, but I can't. I'm in a hurry. But when you're in the country, you're like, hey, I don't know when the next person's going to drive by. Let me make sure they're okay, because if I was broken down on the side, I want to find out. But I think it's called like the dissolution of responsibility when you get to a certain level. Like, it's easier to get away with crimes happening at an event when there's more cops on patrol, security, because everybody else thinks, I was like, well, there's so many of us, someone's like maybe paying, somebody's going to pay more close attention or whatnot, versus when there's only like a handful of security, everybody's more vigilant because there's not a lot of you. So there's certain things that happen with the human mind where it's like, I don't need to worry about this, and so someone else will pick up, someone else will do something about it, and you forget you're that someone. So find people, whatever you think needs to be done, like, make it happen, and maybe just be the person that gathers everyone else together that can make it happen, and then you're like, all right, now go do your thing.
Hence, honestly, what I'm trying to do, that's what we're trying to do with Omega too. Like, that's what community is so important to us. And the future, because we are the future. We are at that age. Wait, how old are you?
I am 22.
Are you really?
No.
Well, let me guess. Are you 34?
36.
Oh, I was going to say 36, but then I was like, I thought you were younger than me for some reason. I bet I asked you last year, and you were probably 34 last year when I asked you.
35 comes before 36.
Well, maybe, whatever. I remember 34. I'm just kidding. Yes. Okay. So I'm 36 as well.
Yep.
And we are at that age. We're like, well, I guess we're not like, we're not quite boomer age, but we're like on the cusp.
Oh, no.
This is like the start of us actually, we should probably be doing shit that matters. Like, for the future. I get so heated about this subject because I'm like, what about our children? I don't even have children. Part of the reason I don't have children is because I'm afraid to bring them into this world. I hate to be so negative, but I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff. Like, I've seen so many people like die and commit suicide and overdose on drugs, and I think that's where a lot of my cynicism comes from. I don't want to watch people die anymore.
Exactly. Well, and to me, it's everything else is, like you said, the Band-Aid. It's the byproduct of the actual issues. So like people point to like, oh, it's the alcohol, it's the food, it is. And it is, but what's making people gravitate towards that drug, towards that food, towards that activity that is terrible for you, or terrible at high doses that we take them in? Because hey, I say an M&M every now and then. It's only fine. You gotta indulge. You have to listen. There's shit to life. We do this shit. Like animals get high. All the time. There's the jaguars that chew on the roots in the Amazon.
What? I didn't know this.
There's the dolphins that will poke at like puffer fish, so they release their toxins. There's plenty of evidence of animals that will do shit to other animals or plants that excrete a toxin that acts like a drug. What's the first thing humans do as they're growing up, right? So say baby to infant, toddler. What's the first thing humans do to alter the state of consciousness?
Breast milk?
I mean,
I don't know. If you're a baby, that's your sustenance.
If your mom's Irish, you get that Bailey's in there.
I don't know. What was it? What was the correct answer?
The correct answer is spinning around in circles.
I'm familiar with that.
So you alter your state of consciousness, a form, essentially what getting high is. You're altering your state of consciousness. Yeah. That's the first thing kids do, and they start spinning as soon as they can walk, and like they're balanced. They're like, oh, let me spin around and get dizzy, fall down. So it's in our nature to just push boundaries and to do things that aren't necessarily the best for us, but they're indulgent, and you can form a community around it. At the end of the day, to me, it's why are you indulging in that drug?
Yes.
In that drug, in that coffee, in the sugar, in because it's like you can eat a cake because you're sad about your job, or you can eat a slice of cake to celebrate someone's birthday.
Exactly.
What are you taking? What's the set and setting and all that?
Yeah.
I need to take a break to go pay my parking meter.
Oh my God. I wonder if I do too. I think I do too. We're past the meter, so let's pause. We're wasting precious podcast time. All right, here we go.
Not podcast time, meter time.
You're right.
Your meter time. You paying these government wages over here with these parking meters. Fucking... What is this over here? The Gestapo?
What's the Gestapo? What's that?
Oh, that was the very authoritarian, violent arm of the Nazi fascist.
Oh, great
regime.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nazis, is there some kind of conspiracy?
Why are they so cool? Just playing. I'm just messing.
Oh my God! Do you guys hear that? Be careful. You can get canceled for anything these days.
I know. I'm testing them waters,
dude. And you see what people are doing now? They're just like caking things out of context, like one.
Oh, yeah, assholes do that all the time. Have you ever had an argument with a narcissist?
Oh my God, a narcissist? How about 20?
Yeah, I mean,
throughout my life.
It's one thing we do as humans is take shit out of context. The best.
I know, especially comedians. We're so good at it.
Yeah, and just putting the what's the word? Malevolent. Intention to what people are doing, other than just like, hey, we're just being fuckheads.
Yeah.
Don't be so serious, guys. Okay. At the end of the day, be serious, but be seriously funny. I don't know. Don't judge people by their worst fucking. I had a dude attack me the other day online. He had a very hateful post that I thought was hateful. He was very anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-all this, and he was tagging me on a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, dude, this has nothing to do with me.
Oh, no.
And I said, respectfully, just don't tag me in future posts.
Yeah.
And then he just started attacking me. It was like, block me then, you're a pussy, you're this and that. And I was like,
no.
And here you are like praising Jesus on other posts. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be a part of that. I'm sorry, dude. What you want?
Well, good for you. I've become a lot better about that lately too, like being way stronger in my boundaries about like who and what I want to deal with, especially online.
Yeah, it's a sick ring. Can you see it?
Oh, thank you.
So do you gem those yourself?
No, actually. Well, here.
Well, let's talk about that. You have statements by Alex, which would be handmade.
Yes. So actually, here I'll let you here. you can hold some of them and it's seeds. See, can you feel the energy? Do you feel any different? They're kind of sweaty. Sorry, it's really hot out here. But those are these are actually everything I'm wearing is homemade, but these are not my best. I've had this one forever, so of course it's gotten a little worn out with time.
As it should.
Yes. But that was actually, I think, one of the first ones I made. I'm surprised this one's still around 7 years later on a brass. And it's garnet, or no. It's ruby, emerald, and pyrite. I just think they're so pretty. I'm fascinated with crystals, and the bigger the better.
Yeah, right.
The raw, I want a raw, chunky crystal, and I think when they're big like that, it makes great art. It's a statement piece.
Yes.
Hence where I get statements by Alex.
Yeah, and it's unique. It's like, a diamond cut, from like a jewelry store. Oh, yeah, it looks pretty. And but I think that stuff does, unless it's big, it's just like, oh, whatever. But if something's raw and it has like a unique quality to it, then it's completely different than anything else that you're going to find, because it's a one of a kind at that point.
Yes.
I guess the argument to that would be like, well, this is a one of a kind because of how many cuts it has. It's like perfect. So when something is, when you got a master diamond cutter there, I guess, you could get something to the point where it is, that. But most of it, you don't have the money for that. Most of us are buying just fucking straight up generic shit anyways at that point.
So that was...
Get something unique.
Yeah, that was my whole thing. Because when I first started, I couldn't... Because as a small business owner and like a one-woman show, I buy all the supplies and materials myself. So I couldn't... When I started making jewelry, I probably spent more money on crystals than I did on like the metals. Because there's a huge jump between costume, or there's like really cheap costume jewelry, and then there's costume jewelry that's still costume jewelry, but it's made a little better and it's a little higher quality, so you don't have to replace it as often. So that's where I like to hang out, in that comfortable range, so it's still affordable to people, because that was the whole point with this. It's like I'm so passionate about crystals, because when I was in Asheville, North Carolina, and I was going through a period of depression and anxiety myself, and that was when I was working at the office job, and I was just like, I'm just living to drink away my weekends. Like, what is this life?
Living for everybody's working for the weekend.
And it's not fun, okay?
No.
Dude, I never had a year and a half of my life pass by so quickly.
Really?
Yeah, working at the same job.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I was at this crystal shop in North Carolina. I didn't know crystals had healing abilities or anything, and I found an amethyst, and it was so pretty on its own, just like this cluster, just shimmering in the sun. And then I found out that it helps with anxiety, and it's a sobriety stone, and I thought that was the coolest synchronicity, because I had just started thinking how I should quit drinking, and I was struggling with anxiety. So it was like the two things that I needed the most help with. It was the properties of amethyst. So then I was like, well, that's like, all the jewelry they have at those crystal shops, they're all like I like hippie jewelry, like hemp and stuff, and cords are fun, but I wanted to make it a little more like flashy with gold and metals and stuff. Yeah. So that's how I got into that. But then I started I became obsessed with crystal shopping, and I would go to all these crystal stores back in Ohio, or anytime I was traveling, and then I'd find these big rocks, and then I'd look up the properties every time I got something new, because the crystal practitioners had told me, well, if you're drawn to something, it's for a reason, and you should look up what it means, because crystals have their own precise rate, or what is it? It's
like their vibration.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. They specific frequencies. Yep. And same with like sound healing and sound frequency. I've also been experimenting with that too, and I noticed a big difference when I wear certain crystals. I definitely feel less. I don't know. I feel naked without them, but like literally naked as in I don't have it, but also
Also what?
Well, in the sense where you're just like, I don't have my protection.
Yeah. I mean, it would be like someone that is spiritual in the different sense, so someone that's religious with their token here, their cross or their Star of David or whatever it is, or, a hijab, I guess. I don't know if that's, speaking of ignorance, I don't know if that's part of the religious aspect as well. I mean, it would almost be like that, right? But I don't subscribe to like that realm as much as, like you do or other people, but there's facts that everything is vibrating. Everything is chemical reactions. Everything, that's what we are. The universe we're made of stardust, right? So we all do occupy the same world. So stuff does have a sense to it.
Yes.
And that's why you can feel like when you walk into a room, you can feel something, like especially if like say like a fight just went down.
Yes.
But you missed it, but you kind of sense like the energy. You're like, hey, something's off in here, you know? There's something, there is definitely something to be said of that. And like we've had that conversation where, you know, you were surprised to find out that I say I'm an atheist, you know, but I just don't subscribe to a scripture God in a sense. Now the universe itself and the whole thing, there's something else that we can't explain, and I can't say that anything that's been written down by man will explain any of it. What's this guy talking? Distracted by this guy driving back. Oh, he drove on the train tracks and got like 20 feet in. He's gone now.
Oh,
Sorry.
I know. I was like, what is going on?
We're out here on the streets. But yeah. So you feel a sense of peace, a sense of like protection, and you want to pass that along to other people.
Yes, 100%. And all the things that you were just saying, it made me think of human design too, which is what I'm most excited about. I wish I could do the readings full time, but I feel like they're expensive. I think the human design readings I do are like $222 for the whole reading because it's like 3 hours long. It's just so much research, and I lose my voice. But it's so cool because when you were talking, I was also going to ask you, have you heard recently that, God, where did I see this? It was like somebody just was talking about how DNA is the same coding as on computers or something. Like, it's written the same way or something. I need to look this up because I sound stupid. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. But the way, when I read it, it made sense. And I was like, oh, maybe we do live in a digital simulation. I don't know.
I mean, if we're talking about statistics, and that's why, like, statistics is, like, such a murky, you know, place to live in. If you just write stats, the stats of this neighborhood is high in crime and this and that, or like it's like you said, like it almost seems like we're living in a more dangerous world. But if you look at statistically, it's the safest time to be alive, right? So, you know, when you think of, you know, throughout history, like right now, it is one of the safest times to be alive. But you know, statistically, that's what it'll tell you, but it doesn't feel like that, right?
No, because every day they're like, the water's bad, the food's bad, there's chemtrails, global warming. The president, one of them is incoherent and doesn't remember what he's saying. The other one's a freaking criminal. And okay, that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's so many other things. So many.
I think it's just at the end of the day, it's your perspective.
You're right.
Your perspective will be the biggest indicator of how happy you're going to be.
Yeah, because we're the ones that assign the story to whatever happens to us, and we assign the meaning to it. So that's what I become a master at. I make everything work for me, even the bad stuff. And I feel like the bad stuff, like you were saying earlier, is there for a reason. It's there to show us what we need to work on within ourselves, and those bad experiences that we have, and I don't know, I always look at them as a way, like I always know that if God or the universe or whatever has put me in a negative situation, I'm depressed or anxious or things aren't going the way I want, I'm like, I know this is for a reason, and that I don't know, probably a couple weeks from now I'm going to be in a much better space. And that's the piece that I also found a lot of that piece through studying astrology and human design too. And human design is so freaking cool, because you were talking about empaths earlier, but have you ever heard of human design?
Yeah.
You have? Have you studied it, or have you done yours?
No.
You haven't? How much do you know about it?
I know the term. That's it.
Okay. It's so cool because speaking of computers and DNA and stuff, like human design shows you a body graph, and it's based on astrology, the Kabbalah, I Ching, and the chakras. So the first time I did mine was like 2020, and I always knew I was an empath, or had a feeling that I was, but then I did I feel like the traditional term of empath, like when most people think of empath, they think of, I can feel somebody's emotions, or I can feel the emotional climate of a room. But human design is super cool because it goes and shows you where in your energy field, like what chakras are open and closed. So if you have an open energy center, it's where you're filtering out energy. So you're literally feeling like somebody's thought energy, and their thought forms because that's all happening too. Like you said, everything's energy, and there's a whole world and realm that we can't see. Like animals are more sensitive to frequencies, and there's something in the ethers, but
not just frequencies, but different information.
Yes,
like bees can see ultraviolet light.
Ooh,
birds, they can sense our magnetosphere. You know, so there's all this stuff that we just can't process because our eyes can only see a certain spectrum. Our ears can only hear a certain frequency band. You know, and it gets worse. It gets smaller and smaller the older we get, right? So there is so much else around us that we can't detect. So what other shit is at play here? So that's why I say I'm an atheist, but that's just because the real term is
agnostic.
Well, no, because the differentiators is actually Gnostic and agnostic.
Oh,
so some people will be a agnostic theist, means, hey, I don't know that there's a God, but I'm gonna live my life like there is a God. So I'm agnostic, but I believe. Now, a Gnostic theist will be like, I know there's a God. You can't change my mind, and I believe in that God. So that's a Gnostic theist. So an agnostic, people would just say, well, I just don't know if there's a God. But there's an agnostic atheist, which would be what I am, where it's, I don't know if there's a God, and I don't live my life like there is one, right? A Gnostic theist would be just as, you know, like someone that says that they're an atheist, like looking at the theist, being like, how can you know that there's a God? Well, the Gnostic atheist says, I know there's no God.
Wow.
And that's, you can't. How can you know that?
Exactly.
How can you know that?
I know.
But the reason I just stopped saying agnostic was Stephen Colbert.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was basically, agnostics are just atheists without balls, without the balls to say it. And I was like, you know what, you're right. So ever since then, I tell you know, folks that. But you know, to me, it's I think evolutionarily speaking, religion holds a lot of weight in allowing us to evolve as social beings and communal aspects. Otherwise, it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't be so prevalent in so many cultures.
Yeah.
Every culture has a religion. It's just to what extent and to what form is it? Is it a monotheistic? Is there a bunch of gods? What is it?
Ooh, this is something fun that I learned. Is it Elohim? Do you know that? I think that means, I think I learned recently that Elohim, which is, I think, what is that? I don't know if that's a Hebrew word for God. I don't know. But I think somebody told me it means like Council of 12. So it was like any entity that is godly. But a lot of people don't know that, and they interpret that as like in the Bible or whatever different religious texts, they interpret that as meaning like the one God. But and then if you go back, I've been having a lot of weird stuff pop up on my YouTube, so I've been kind of exploring what is it, like the Thoth or like the tablets or something that I forget exactly. Is it Thoth, like T? I can't even spell it. God, what is it called?
Of Judaism or
no, it's like
not Taoism, right? Not Tao.
No, it's not that either. It is the tablets of. Somebody help me out here. Tablets of, actually, you know what? Let me just look it up. They're like these tablets. I'm pretty sure they're found in different parts of the world. Like they're not all together.
The something stones in Georgia. I think there's one in Georgia.
Is that it?
I think that's.
How do I spell this? That's not how you spell it. The tablets of Toe. How do I even spell that?
It's an interesting search history. How to spell...
Oh, my God. What did I say? What did you see?
How to spell biscuit. No, I was playing. I don't know.
Jesus
I didn't
Christ.
see anything.
Yeah, be careful who you sit next to when you're looking up your sports history. Or, I mean, your internet history. Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah.
That could be awkward.
I have a bit I need to work out more, but it's I don't care about my search history. Like, go for it. I research all kinds of crazy, stupid, disgusting shit. Now, what I'm scared about leaking is my Amazon wish list.
Oh,
or
God.
My Amazon search history. Like, because this is stuff that you were trying to spend actual money on. like that's what, to me, it's like, oh, like, now you're seriously considering this. The search history, I'm just doing research.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I know. I am a very curious person by nature. I research the shit out of everything. I'm curious, you know. So they're the emerald tablets of Thoth. Do they physically exist in a museum somewhere? Are they pseudo-history? Do they exist? Blah, blah, blah. So that was on a Reddit forum, but there's actually... Billy Carson talks about it. Okay. I dig him. I've been listening to him and his theories more.
I don't know Billy.
Yeah, I didn't either. I don't know how his claim to fame is. He's kind of just like popped up on YouTube one day randomly, just like Terrence Howard is. Has Terrence Howard been popping up on yours?
Well, I listen to Rogan's podcast all the time, so I just saw that he's on there with Brett Weinstein. I think that's him, because I know he has a brother, and one of them is like into biology, and one of them is an astrophysicist. So I think it's the astrophysicist guy, but I forget which one it is. So I'm very interested to see that, because it was. I mean, when Terrence was on Rogan's podcast, like what he was talking about was like, holy shit, how is this like not something that has been addressed yet? And I know Neil deGrasse Tyson addressed it, but I hadn't seen that either. But I'm definitely interested to see where this goes, because, again, at the end of the day, it's just information that gets received differently. The placebo effect is a reason. So even if I don't believe, someone might not fully subscribe to those have an energy to them, but if they put you in a state where you feel like it is, and it's a placebo, the placebo thing is right, because our mind is so strong. It is so strong. So if following a religion makes you a more decent, kind person, I'm not going to judge you for it. Now, if that religion you use to be hateful and to be vindictive and judging others,
beheading others,
that's the issue.
I agree. I'm right there with you. I think spirituality and just self-awareness, so important for us to have self-awareness and spirituality. I guess everybody has their own form of it, and like what works for them, and it's beautiful, and it's what makes this world go round and round and round, and I love it.
Heck yeah. So have you been following Terrence?
Not often. I think I watched a couple of his videos, and I was like, okay, that's very interesting. What is this whole thing like?
I mean, a lot of that shit just goes over here for me.
It was a lot, and I don't know. I feel like I've honestly been trying to spend less time on my phone. I'm not quite succeeding yet, because it's very hard as a influencer or as a co-president of an organization where your phone is going off 24 hours a day. Literally feels like it. So I feel like I can't get off my socials because I'm afraid I'm going to miss something. But I was actually thinking the other day, I'm like, I just want to take like 3 days and not talk to anybody. I'm going to put my phone in silent. I'm going to go off in the desert. But then I was like, wait, I can't do that because it's 117 degrees out. And if I don't have a phone, what if I die? It's so fucking hot out here. That's like a legit thing that could happen. And I never bring enough water. I always forget.
Just swallow an air tag.
An air tag? Yeah. What the hell? What do you mean swallow an air tag?
Well, you put air tags on your stuff, so if you lose them, an Apple air tag.
I don't know I don't have an air tag. What's an air tag?
Well, you would put it like on your luggage.
Oh, okay.
So if you lose it, you can find it.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
So just swallow one.
Oh God, you would die. Dude, do not let your dogs swallow lithium batteries, by the way. They will destroy your dog.
Oh, man.
Or humans. Don't do that either.
No, just take advice from the cartels and put it in a condom wrapper.
Is that what they do?
Not a condom wrapper.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah. I mean, they put Coke in condoms and then you swallow them.
Or you stick it up your beehole in prison. I think that's how they do it.
Hey, man, if somebody's willing to shove shit up their ass to get it somewhere else, I think that's the cost of admission.
Yeah, that's commitment.
If you're going to violate yourself to that degree, have at it, boss.
Yeah,
That's just where I stand with it.
Yeah, no, by all means, welcome to the club.
Yeah, we'll let you in the back door, okay?
I don't have any good puns. I was like, damn, this would be fun. I'll keep going with that. Oh my God.
This the open mic here's popping off this Wednesday too?
Yes. And
what time? It starts at what time?
It starts so I've been opening the Star store at 7, so I set up my merch. You get a little so actually I don't have this design available. You're wearing the one and only
limited edition,
the only printed Lightworkers Unite shirt, so thank you for that.
Wait, this is literally the only one printed?
Yeah, the only one, because they're all pre-made, made to order. right?
Yes.
You know, the whole drop shipping. That's what
Yes.
we're doing. But
Yeah.
all of the Starletta designs, and then the Omega shirts that are on the website on spirit.com. That's spjrit.com -OMMERCH OM merch, but it's OM, not OHM. OM
Gotcha.
merch.
Mm-hmm.
We're selling all of that. All of our merch. 100% of the proceeds go to support the Jeff Richards Variety Show. Last show we did. Yes, the venues can. All right, I'm not gonna throw out numbers there, but I'm just saying venues can get a little pricey.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yes, we're working on raising money for that. So if anyone wants to support, and then of course we already mentioned that they can get $100 for their best 2 minutes, which is if they come this week, we're also raffling off. The winner also gets a 10-minute spot at our show at Rips, and we do not have a date yet, so we'll make sure everyone who wins, we'll make sure that we find a date that works for everyone.
Nice. How about raffling off a date with Starletta herself?
Wow. Did you know that Starletta, Alex and Starletta, they've both been celibate and dateless for 6 months.
Ooh, that's a good move.
I know. It really is. But at the same time, I'm at the crucial point, the 6-month period where I'm like, you know what? I don't know. It's like a weird thing. Have you ever gone through like periods of like celibacy by choice?
Not willingly.
I was just about to say, by choice. You have to add that in.
Yeah.
No, I've been intentional about it, and I was thinking of how funny it would be to do like a Starletta dating show, though.
Yeah, do
like,
it.
Like a date with Starletta.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might end up in jail. You could end up. I don't know where you could end up.
Yeah. Would you are you trying to make it a whole skit in the sense of like it plays out like a story, or would it be like a game show type of environment?
I don't know. What do you think would be more entertaining?
Well, I think the easiest one would probably be the game show. Because the other one's just going to take a lot more editing and, more planning out as far as like scenes and venues and all that.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
So, one of my ideas that I had was like to invite people on the show and like go on a date with Starletta, but we would intentionally make it a really bad date, and she would like find something to like mess it up. So like maybe what's the worst thing that's happened to you on a date? Anything?
I fell in love.
Oh, yeah, I know. That will just fuck up your whole life. I mean, in a good way and a bad way. That's actually partially why I'm single too, because I'm like I've been so peaceful, but before that I was always in like longer term relationships, and I don't know, like for me, my relationships, like they're the best thing ever, like to be in love with somebody and like have that amazing chemistry with somebody, but then I don't know, it's like a double-edged sword, because you end up with a lot of people, like a relationship, there's nothing that will make you look at yourself and do some solid self-reflection as much as being in a relationship with somebody will. And that being said, there's a lot of people who are not willing to do that work. So if you're the only one who's trying to acknowledge like, okay, or who's able to say like, I was wrong, what can I do to improve, and you're not with a partner who meets you halfway, and they're always like, oh yeah, that's right, you were wrong. Like,
Exactly.
if somebody says they're wrong, I'm like, thank you. I'm sure that was hard for
it
ego to
takes
admit,
so
but
much.
thank you.
Yeah, it
is
takes
hard.
so much, man. That's the hardest thing for my son to do right now. And as a boy, I need him to be like, hey, I need you to take responsibility for this.
Yes.
Because he won't, even if it's an accident, like he won't say, hey, I'm sorry, I hit you with the ball.
No.
Because I can imagine, and I'm like, do you feel like then you're guilty, that you feel like maybe you did it on purpose if you're having to admit, hey, I'm sorry that this happened? It's like, it's an accident. So I think part of it is like people don't want to say I'm sorry, because then there's the admission. There's like, I don't want to admit that I did something wrong, or that maybe it comes off as intentional. And it's like, at the end of the day, no matter how virtuous your decision to take action is, people are going to receive it differently anyways.
Yes, exactly.
So just say you're sorry. That's it.
know.
And like you said, tell people, hey, thank you for saying that and acknowledging and having the balls to do that.
Yes, exactly. And that is such a game changer for relationships. I don't know. My biggest pet peeve is like when people can't, or when they make arguments and communication about who's right and wrong. I've always like in my relationships, like whenever there is an issue, it's always been like, it's not about what's right or wrong. It's like we're a team, man.
Yes.
We're on the same side. How can we do a win-win?
Yeah.
Win.
And we failed earlier, and we have a chance to regather ourselves and move forward, and not address, well, you had done this, you had done this. You can say that And I would say that just so to give the person an idea of my frame of mind, this is why I acted in the way I did. Oh, well, that's not where I was at all. This is why I acted. And it's like have that understanding of why we acted in that way and just say, okay, well, we fucked that up. Like, how do we move forward? Because I do care about you.
Exactly.
And we need to get past this. Easier said than done.
Yes, it is. And the other thing I learned a handful of years ago is, through therapy and through human design, a lot of therapists will say, like, well, I don't know. I feel like when you're in the heat of the moment and you're arguing with somebody, especially a romantic partner, because like all your, you're intimately involved with them. So of course all your emotions are heightened, and then that, like, there's so many things. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are just trying to be in a relationship because they don't feel whole on their own. So they're looking for somebody to complete them and give them validation, etc.
Which is so much pressure to the partner.
I know. Oh man, I had a point. What was my point? It was
I need
so
to stop
good.
doing this.
No, it's okay. It was on the tip of my tongue. What was I going to say? I don't know. Maybe something about like shame. There's a lot of people want to resolve things right away.
Oh, yeah.
And in therapy, I learned it's best to like separate, even if it's for like 5 to 10 minutes. But there's I used to read a lot about attachment styles too, like anxious style, attached. And have you ever heard about that stuff? Oh, you haven't?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I feel like it's such a common relationship dynamic between like mostly single people. So they say there's what is it, like secure attachment style. So that would probably be like your people who are I don't know, like in happy long-term relationships, and then you have like a part of the population that is probably having shorter-term relationships that are filled that are a little more hot and cold. But typically there's a dynamic where somebody's anxious attached. So like if you don't answer their phone call, then they're going to send you like 5 follow-up texts and be like, are you with somebody else? And they get really anxious and they need to talk and need everything right now. And then the avoidant, that is like triggering to them because they don't want the pressure of being somebody's like all or their everything. Because that's typically what happened to them in childhood. They grew up in a family with parents or whatever, caretakers who made them responsible for their emotions or whatever. So I personally have oscillated between both sides of the spectrum. Like I've been anxious at times, and then I've also been avoidant at times. But that's the beauty of self-work and actually, not being afraid to humble yourself and admit like, there's room for improvement. And to look at yourself. But anyways, a lot of people are stuck in that dynamic of anxious or avoidant. Yeah. So the anxious typically wants to resolve everything right there and right now, and the avoidant is like, no. But if you can tell an anxious person, and if you can empower yourself with that kind of knowledge to kind of like have an idea of which one you are, if you are struggling with problems with communication in your relationships, like if you know which one you are, it can help you, it provides you with more insight, so you can kind of like take a look at, well, why am I anxious? Like I'm worried about them cheating, or was I left when I was younger, or whatever. Like what are my beliefs and my thoughts about love and relationships in general that lead me to act this way? Yeah. And I'm on another ADD tangent, but just to finish my original thought, which is somewhere, I was going to say, the anxious people, or just people in general, want to resolve it in the moment, but therapists say, give yourself 15 minutes to separate. And then what I like about human design, which really kind of filled in some gaps for me after I got my human design reading, because I was able to see in a physical way, since human design shows you a body graph, and then there's like astrology is a science. Okay, some people want to call it a pseudoscience. What is it, a science? I don't know. Whatever it is, like there's different. You can look up human design's cool. The people that they talk about neutrinos, because neutrinos are emitted from our sun and stars in our atmosphere, and then they're absorbed through our DNA. So that's how we're always changing with the seasons and the neutrinos, and some people call them like light codes that are ejected from the sun and the stars and whatnot. But human design shows you a physical representation of your body, like where those parts on your auric field are like open to receive energy, but also where you project it out consciously. So like me and you like have a different energy exchange than me and anyone else in this world, and you and anyone else in this world, because human design just like shows you how unique your profile is. So you've got, I don't know, it's just so cool. So anyways, my point is like when you separate, then I keep my auric field, and then I can be alone with my thoughts and make sure that I'm not being an empath and like feeling a certain way because I'm really picking up on your thoughts and your energy. You know what I mean?
Being influenced.
Exactly.
Without figuring it out for yourself for a moment. Yeah, because some of us are definitely a lot more easier to influence than others, you know? So I think, removing yourself and really, okay, what does this mean for me right now in this moment? Okay, cool. Let me make sure I address that. So now when we reconvene, we can speak from a place where it's like, okay, this is exactly how it's feeling, versus like, well, I guess, oh yeah, I can kind of see your point, and not get your side across. So that would hinder people that are very easy to cave, you know, in a relationship, and always just default to the other person. Well, I don't want them to be mad, so yeah, whatever you say.
Exactly.
You know? No, stand up for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, do you think people really would go on a date with Starletta?
Oh, for sure. Come on, get out of here. Pick anyone that joined in on the live aspect there.
No, no one's watching.
They've been in and out.
Have they? That's what she said. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, we got Chris Lee. What up, Chris Lee? Hey, tree. Okay, cool. I'm just seeing all these people who have joined. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't think anyone's watching out, but that's okay. That's cool. Man, there's so many things too. What else were we gonna say? We were talking.
Well, we've been so many places.
I know, and I feel like there have been so many.
There's so many different avenues we could have gone down for an 8 to 10 minute segment on its own so far. Yeah,
I know. And
go for it.
Oh, well, I was just gonna bring up puppy yoga because we had discussed that the other day.
Oh, yes.
You know, but I just found out that their puppies are like $1,000 an hour to rent puppies for your event.
Oh wow!
So it's a little out of budget. Maybe someday once we start getting funding for Freedom for Strays, we'll be able to like actually, you know, pay to have dogs at our event.
And where was it? So this is a business that specifically rents out puppies for this purpose?
Yep, it's a rescue. I think it's called Almost There Rescue. So it's a ma and pups rescue place. So they have events where like corporate events that can give you puppies to rent out and stuff for their event. But they got
and it's 1,000. Is there a cap?
Maybe
on the
it was
puppies?
like 800.
Yeah, but still, anything over $500 might as well be 1,000.
I know.
I'm interested to know this dynamic on the business.
I know. I told them what we were trying to do, which was we're just trying to. I was hoping to do an adoption event, but then kind of like split the funding. So we'll wash the cars and we'll keep the donations for the work that we do washing cars, but we'll also kind of do something good and we'll promote your puppies and maybe people will come meet and greet with the puppies and we'll encourage people to come check out your organization that may not have otherwise come out for that. So that was my thinking, but and I did bring that up. So I don't know. Still waiting to hear
It's a
back.
business. At the end of the day, it's a business. They got to run it. They got to be profitable for sure.
I know. Business.
Imagine how much puppy food is these days.
I know. That's why I'm trying to have I don't know if this is going to be doable or not. I mean, I love that you hooked me up with Bethany, by the way, because she corrected me multiple times during our meeting and was like, don't say if it's possible. Anything is possible.
Oh, I love it. She's such a beast.
I know. I'm like, so thank you, Bethany.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, you need to take that to... as far as you can, run with it. Take it, run with it. I formation football. Hit the hole. Hit the number 2 hole, and
hit the number 2 hole. That's right.
And then high step it into the end zone. Jesus Christ.
You play football?
Yes.
Did you ever play football?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can see you as a football player.
Yeah, I went to a small school, so I played just about every position. So, yeah.
That's right. So good. All right, we got that up. What else did we say we were going to mention?
I don't think we ever got to the time slot that the Desmond open mic starts.
We didn't. Oh my Lord, I'm ridiculous. It starts. I set up the Star Store at 7. This week we're going to be podcasting earlier, so probably between 7 and 8 is when we'll start.
Nice.
And then it usually starts at 9:30. Last week actually started a lot later. We had a huge turnout last week. It was crazy. And then the weeks before that were kind of quiet. So yeah, it's either huge and crazy, and then I think there was 2 minutes for each comedian, and I think it took us 2 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was close to 2 hours. I thought.
Well, it's that because you guys also take moments in between to talk about the set and get to know the person. It's like a Kill Tony, vibe in the sense where like, okay, come out, do your minute, but let's talk.
Yes.
That's what are you about? That's cool. Giving people an extra moment, for a platform.
Yes.
So that's big. Plus, wasn't one of the last times? Wasn't it? I'm drawing a blank on his name, but wasn't the host's birthday? What's his
Damien.
Damien. Yes.
It was Damien's birthday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that contributed to that.
Yeah.
So okay, but normally it's starting off like around, is it 9 or so?
9:30.
9:30.
Probably
Perfect.
the safest
But
time.
Get here
9:30.
early,
9:40.
get settled in, find good parking for one.
Exactly.
But then you also brought up that there is a very established entertainer that would be willing to give lessons on.
That's right. Impressions. That's right. Okay, so thank you for reminding me. Jeff Richards. Okay, that's who we're raising the funds for the Jeff Richards variety show. And Jeff Richards, in case people don't know about him, he was the first person, I believe, to be on both SNL and Mad TV. Okay, and I watched it all growing up.
Yes,
I loved SNL, especially back in the day of like VH1, MTV, before you had like all these. I don't know. Everything just feels so loud. But I always think of the '90s and like the 2000s and early 2000s as just much quieter time, less chaotic. So I hold it dearly in my heart. I love all that. the era of that era.
That's just what hindsight, or what's the word I'm looking for? Not nostalgia, but reminiscing on like the past. It just we view it differently. Mm-hmm. We were just more naive, so it seemed more peaceful. It seemed more. That's just what it was.
Yeah, you're right.
But anyways, I was more a Mad TV guy than SNL, but I love SNL still. Mm-hmm. So he's been on both shows. Yep. So obviously he's good at impressions.
Mm-hmm. And now he has a show on YouTube, the Jeff Richards Show. So he does all sorts of impressions. He does William Dafoe. Gary Busey is what he's particularly famous for right now with the buttered sausage.
Yeah.
God, Jimmy Kimmel. Is that who I'm? Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel is from SNL, right?
No, Jimmy Fallon.
That's who I'm thinking of. Yeah, Jimmy Fallon. Okay, okay. So Jimmy Fallon. So he does a bunch of impressions. So, anyways, he's going to set up we're setting up a group call for all of our Omega members, anyone who wants to participate, and he said he would. So basically, what we'll do, everybody just pick out an impression that you want to learn, get the video of it, and then you're going to practice the video, and then do your best impression, and then share it with Jeff, and then he'll help you.
You'll help you nail it.
Yeah, nail it. Which I'm super excited about because that's a great skill to have, especially in this, this influencer age. Like, we're all doing our little skits. That's my favorite thing because, like, I've been doing comedy for a year. Well, it depends on what you start my first show as. My first show was at Gracie's in 2022, but then I didn't do it for, like, 9 months. And then I went back into it. And then I stopped once I was having way more fun doing my podcast and like improv skits than actually going on the mic. I have fun on the mic and doing stand-up, but I think I like hosting and judging and
being a personality in that sense, versus having the just again me on the mic and it's my words and my ideas and trying to get the images I have up here to to get this mouth to translate it properly and deliver it in a way where you grasp exactly what I'm trying to do. That's so hard.
It is. Wait, how long have you been doing comedy again?
Depending on who you ask, never.
Wait, what? No, I'll stop. Do people say that?
I'm sure some do.
Right.
So I quit the band mid-April last year and then picked up comedy by like the first week of May. So it's been about a year that I've been doing it. Pretty steady. And then before that, though, when I started the podcast, shortly after starting the podcast, I did comedy for about 6 months. And then I quit to work on the marriage because when I started comedy, I was married to my ex-wife, and then we separated, and then we tried to work on it. And so like I quit comedy to make sure that was going well, and it didn't get much further than that, and ended up divorcing and joining a band and trying to be creative. I am creative. I am a creative.
Yep.
I am an entertainer.
That's right.
I need to get my head on there and say that.
Yes.
and I needed an outlet, you know. So to me, Jatuan Whedon asked me, what's the biggest thing you get out of comedy? And I said, it's the complete freedom to go up there and say whatever I want and have fun. And to her, she said, as a black woman, she's like, I don't feel like I have the same freedom that you might exhibit, you know, as a male, maybe a minority in a sense, because in this day and age, the people experiencing the most criticism from in the entertainment industry is the white male.
I was just about to say,
demonized like fucking crazy. Like, you can't do anything right. You can't fucking do anything. And I understand people's mind frame, you know, where this is coming from, the justification for it. It still doesn't make it right. But she had said, you know, she's like, if I say anything too sexual, why is a woman you're just being sexual. If a dude says something sexual, he's just being a dude, he's just like this and that. And as a black woman, she's like, I'm not black enough, my voice is too white, my subject matter isn't this, you know. It's like you get all these critiques, and you get that with anything, anybody will get it. But she said that's just what she's experiencing, which was surprising to me, that she would, because people do allow you to say whatever you want, but then it's like the back end of it where people start judging and they start, you know, critiquing everything, which totally took me by surprise. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, it makes sense,
right?
It makes sense. So anyways, I needed a creative outlet, and so that's where you know, stand-up came into play. But I would love to do more hosting shows. I need to do more skits. I really wish I could quit, you know, my main job and just do that. But got a mortgage and child support and a car note. And
how much longer are you tied into all that?
A ton.
Oh, like years for the car payment and stuff like that?
Yeah. I'll probably still have another 3 years on that. Yeah. I got my mortgage, which is a fucking 30-year fucking thing. Which I don't even like the house. Like,
I don't blame you. Like, literally, I'm so crazy and so like I don't want to be like trapped in anything like that, because that's like what I realized like a handful of years ago when I was living in this corporate world, and I was paying, you know, I think I was lucky. I didn't have a car payment at the time, but I had, you know, all the other bills that you have, including rent. So I was like, fuck, after all is said and done, I'm getting like these $900 used to stretch a lot further, you know, 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago. But, you know, my paychecks are like, what, $1,000 or $900, whatever. And then back when rent was like $400 or like $395.
Or you were renting just a room.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. So I'm like, but even so, when all is said and done, I'm like making $17 stretch for like at least 3 days. I remember I had to make it stretch for 3 days. And I'm doing that constantly now as a self-employed person, because, but the beauty of it is, no attachments. Like, I don't have a house, and this is so crazy. I've almost had to like brain myself. I feel like a lot of people, this might be also why I'm single too, because I feel like most practical people are like, yes, you need a house, you gotta pay for your house, blah, blah, blah. But to me, I see a 30-year mortgage and I'm like, well, how the fuck do I know I'm gonna want to stay here for 30 years? I don't want to be tied down in one place. My dad says I have the 6-month itch, and he's right, because every 6 months I feel like my soul is like, I need a new experience. You know?
And your dad knows you. No, we are slaves to our possessions. Your possessions own you. So if you're tied into a 30-year mortgage, it's got you tied down. I can't do what I would really want to do because of that. Like, I also need a place to stay. So there's like this crazy balance. So I don't know. I wish I would have used my 20s to really, you know, be as broke as I could be, but do something artistic and really feed the soul. I don't know. As humans, we're just meant to create.
Yeah, I believe, 100%. Because, like, if you think about it, like, creating food with our hands, creating, like, structures that we build, creating art, like drawing, creating comedy, it's all, like, everything we do as art. Humans is creative,
Everything's art. Everything's art. And even if you're working a binary and engineering job, something that's very just bump, like regimented and structured, even those people at the end of the day spend their hard-earned money on art, on movies, on TV, subscriptions, you know, live shows. We live to take in art.
And isn't it so crazy? You just nailed it, because that's the thing that I feel like most of us do spend our money on is art, entertainment, or instant gratification like food, alcohol, weed, gas.
Which is art in itself. When you go and you go to a nice restaurant and they present you with this nice, that's art, what that chef just did, the preparation and the presentation.
Exactly.
Mixologist, bartender, have you ever had like a dope ass bartender that makes you like, you're like, damn, this drink is art. It's like, it's got like 30 ingredients. It's like 12 process, 12 steps. Like all this shit, right? It is.
Oh, I know. I had one. If anyone wants to know what to order next time at the Desmond, I had a espresso martini last week. Ooh. I usually don't drink, but I don't know. I'm at like a point where I have like one drink on a holiday or like just randomly, and I just decided the other night just to have one, and it was really good. Nothing
wrong with that. I told myself I wasn't gonna have coffee till July 11th or whatever, and you know what? I think enough time had passed. That was like 10 weeks in instead of the 12, and I'm like, okay, dude, let's do it. And I was drinking no alcohol, but I went and saw my sister in Vegas, and I had a sip of wine to celebrate. My nephew graduated high school, and my other nephew was turning 13, and she had brought wine. She's like, I don't drink. I'm in town. I don't go to Vegas. I haven't seen my sister in forever. It's like, yeah, I'll have a sip with you.
Exactly.
My other buddy was going through some trouble, and we had a relationship formed, not just around bourbon, but bourbon is very there. And he's like, do you want to drink? I was like, I'm not drinking. And he's like, I'm like, hey man, let's do it. Let's have a quick one, And it's why you're doing the damn thing at the end of the day.
Exactly, yeah, and it makes you enjoy it more when you're not just like mindlessly doing it just because it's there or it's offered. That's like what I've found. So I have so many questions. I wanted to ask you about,
because I'm about to piss myself.
Oh my god!
Write them down so you don't forget them.
Okay, I got this. All right. So parking tips. Let's talk about parking for people that want to come to the Desmond. Where did you park?
Just pay for fucking parking. I've been ticketed so many times.
God damn, don't scare people. And me, on the other hand, like, luck. I parked there in a spot that's not even a real spot. I don't do it often. I did it one time because they were like, this will be fine. And I didn't, I risked it. Okay. And I was fine.
And you got away with it. Yeah, that's fine. Every now and then. But it's just like, man, it's $1.50. The fee is like, the fine is like $40 to $60. I just paid $1.50.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I have to hit it again here in a moment.
Yeah.
Hey yo. But we can go ahead and take this home, girl.
All right.
What any
closing questions?
Any closing questions?
Yes, I remembered all the ones that I wanted to ask you throughout the show. First of all, anything to report back to us about your experience fasting and also experience without coffee? Because I was saying that I was going to do the fasting thing with you, but for whatever reason, I don't know. I could not stick to it for more than a day, then I forgot about it.
It's tough. I felt colder right out of the gate, so I don't know if that's also me just getting older, but also I knew I was losing, a pretty good amount of body fat, so that has to play a role in there. And definitely started to feel weaker, like the second or the third and the fourth week that I had done it, just feeling weaker overall, and I was like, man, I'm not feeling that good about it.
Yeah.
But the mental thing, the mental aspect of like really going through with it, that was awesome. That was great. I'm thinking going forward, maybe a 7-day fast, maybe twice a year.
Whoa! Have you done 7 days in a row yet?
No, and you know what? Because I was doing 3.5. And yeah, definitely felt like I could do another 2. So maybe not a 7-day, maybe a 5-day fast would be good. I think that's totally doable. Once again, twice a year. Nothing. Too extreme. Because the same thing like when I did a push-up challenge during COVID. I was doing 100 push-ups a day for 100 days.
Oh my God.
And that definitely wore me out. And I was like, man, okay, maybe 100 every day was a little bit much. So 50. I was like, 50 is a good one.
The hell? Hold on. Do you have before and after pictures?
Oh, of that?
Yeah. I'm curious. Like when you're doing that many a day, every single day in a row, like do your muscles actually get like?
My chest was pretty good, but my arms is about as big as they've ever been. I've never had like really strong arms, so like I'm I'm trying. That's where my focus is, which I feel like my legs have been suffering in that sense.
Suffering? What are you talking about?
Yeah. I have ignored it, which is why I think I'm also having knee problems. I've had ankle problems. I got tightness back here. So a bunch of shit that, we're dealing with.
Oh, no.
Working through. But yeah, I think what I learned from the fasting is it's very empowering to be able to control your cravings, all of that. It made me appreciate food more and really slow down when, eating and appreciative. I definitely understand why people would pray over their food back in the day when you didn't know where it was coming from, when the next meal was.
Damn.
Yeah, you fucking said thanks.
Wow.
But the no coffee thing I felt was totally fine. I felt like a headache maybe 3 days in, barely. And then after that, it was totally fine. Energy was totally fine. I mean, I had my first cup of coffee yesterday, and I was yawning 20 minutes later.
Wow.
I don't know. And I guess it wasn't as strong as I was used to, because I drink very strong.
Yeah.
I usually order coffee with an extra shot. So I know I have a high tolerance in that sense. Yeah, it was. And now I think I'm gonna take it straight black.
Yeah.
Like the cream and
It's too good. I'm sorry.
the cream is good.
It's nice and fluffy.
The sugar, that's great and all, but I think it allowed me to really appreciate good coffee in that sense. Just like when I'm drinking alcohol, I usually don't drink cocktails. I'll drink it straight.
Yeah.
So listen, if you're gonna party, I think that's the thing. Is we sweeten all these things up, and it's great. Have a treat. Have a dessert. But when that's how you're consuming the main thing, then you're losing the actual aspect of, I think what you're doing here is to enjoy the alcohol, right? Enjoy it. Don't just drink just to get fucked up. There's moments for that too.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, there's moments for that too. I'm not saying don't ever do it. I'm just trying to say mitigate the frequency that happens, and you'll be better off for
Dude,
it.
you have to after a certain age. I don't know about you, but I remember when I in my 20s, it's all well and good. I was doing what everybody else my age was doing, was going to the bars and drinking a lot and stuff. But after 27, my hangovers got so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even I remember my first time after being away from alcohol for a year and a half, I had went to my high school reunion. I had 4 drinks throughout the night, which used to be my pregame.
Yes.
And I was so hungover the next day. I was like, holy shit. When you've gone without it for a long time, it takes, I guess, when you have that tolerance, you don't really notice what kind of damage you're doing. But I'm right there with you on the straight whiskey. That was my drink of choice. So good. It's always nice every now and again to really just savor that one drink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that was my fasting.
Cool. Okay, so one more question about the coffee though. So are you going to stay off of it, or do you think you said black, right? So the consensus is you're going to go back to it, but lighter.
Yeah, I don't know what my relationship going forward is going to exactly look like. Yeah, I mean, there's an aspect of the ritual of it, of making coffee, enjoying it. So again, it might not. Again, the placebo aspect of it is that it might not actually give me the energy I'm intending it to, but something about the routine is very ritualistic. You have your morning rituals, what gets you going for the day, and coffee is a part of that for a multitude of us. It's a drug at the end of the day, guys.
Yeah.
As is your sugar, your candy, and all that shit. It's a drug. We're all medicating on some level.
100%.
And honestly, you think cocaine is worse than sugar? Not in the amounts you're taking in, my man.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's pick your poison. That's what I try to do anyways. I'm everything's fucked on some level. So if you just I don't know, that's why it's balance, balance it with periods of fasting. That's why I try to do it, especially, I think I've learned how to be better about that over time. My relationship with my body's gotten a lot better, not just shoveling anything and everything in my mouth anymore, which I used to do when I was drinking. It was just oh, pizza, fries.
And when you're young, and you're
Lord.
broke and you don't know any better, or you don't want to know any better, I don't feel the things, but now as we get older, you feel it all. So yeah, we're definitely more conscious about it.
Okay, my third question. I wanted to ask you about your modeling too, because aren't you I don't know, are you short on time? This is my final question about your modeling and the talent agency.
Non-existent.
You're not? No, you didn't.
Well, I just haven't had anything booked. That's it.
Okay.
It's my auditions, but what I need to take some acting classes. I need to. I know I have some skill naturally. I does it because I've the few times I have acted, I usually get complimented on. And you were my first modeling gig, so hey,
thank you.
I definitely cite you as one of my first gigs as well.
Thank you.
So that gave me the confidence to really pursue it further, because I'm like, okay, well, if Alex is asking me to do this and I'm getting certain compliments, and I have 2 buddies that were already with them in my workout crew, and they're older, so they get different roles than I do, but they were like, yeah, you should totally do it. And I was like, okay, well, let me look into it. But taking acting classes is huge. For one, you should always be studying. You should always be, working to improve. But also, the people holding these classes are also casting directors. They're also people. So if you can be familiar and brush elbows, and they can put a face and a personality to it, then maybe I'll start getting some of these gigs go through. But I actually have an audition I need to do when I get home tonight for an insurance company.
That's exciting. So my friend was on a Super Bowl commercial, and he made like $3,000 or something.
Yeah.
There's money in it. My mom used to do commercials and infomercials, and she made great money. And she was like in her 40s when she did it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
I know. So
some tips.
And then there's one more thing too with you. What was it? It was I meant to ask you about your band too, because like what kind of music did you play? Are you still doing music?
I need to record some stuff. So I play. I got my acoustic guitar and an electric guitar. I was fiddling on my electric guitar last night, and really rock and more folk
I love
type stuff. The band I was in last, we were playing blues and Americana. So we would do like Gary Clark Jr. covers, a ton of originals, and the previous band that Alex, the singer, was in, his other band, so we would play some of their songs, but very, very bluesy. Before that, I was in a Rage Against the Machine cover band, and then before that, I was in a hip-hop band.
So how many years have you been doing music and bands?
So I was in the hip-hop band from like 2010 to like 2012, or maybe 11. It was really short-lived. And then Rage Against the Machine band, we only played 2 shows, and we jammed for like a year and a half.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
It was really just
How
a
typical.
jam and just to have deep talks afterwards.
Yeah.
And then the blues band, I was in that for about a year and a half.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I need to record my own stuff. I need to do that because depending on what instrument I'm on, there's different aspects of it. So a lot of my bass stuff, because I've played bass for the longest, would bridge hip hop to rock, and my acoustic guitar stuff is very folky.
Yeah.
And then my ukulele stuff is somewhere in between.
I want to hear. Do you have it posted anywhere?
Just Instagram.
Yeah.
I've made some posts about it. Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it. Do you do lyrics too?
No, I need to. That's what I suck at, and that's the scariest thing to me is singing.
Really?
Yeah, acting, dancing, comedy, all that stuff, fine. But I don't have a singing voice. It hasn't been trained to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's just some I need to find out what my range is.
Yeah.
I would love to take vocal lessons. I need to. And I work at a music store. We give vocal lessons, so I know that's it. But that's the scariest thing to me is singing.
I feel that, and I'm just going to give everyone listening and you a quick tip. This is what helps me a lot. Well, first of all, quit vaping and smoking if you do either of those. I gained like a whole octave when I did that. And then also I was watching like a YouTube video with a voice lessons coach or something, and they said when you're going on a high note, because I would always be afraid that if I go on a high note, my voice is going to crack, or I'm not going to be able to hit it, or I'm going to fall like a little flat. But like if you visualize your belly button as you're hitting the high note, it like opens your diaphragm more or something. So it's a mental thing to hit those high notes. And I swear to God, like it's really cool the difference that makes.
It is training. I know for me, it's training my diaphragm to really open up and expand the lungs and utilize it properly, use your core. Because my stuff will crack all the time, and I don't know. Part of me almost feels like I might actually be tone deaf as much as I've been around music and all that. It's like I can't really play by ear that well. I'm always off just a little bit, just enough. So I'm not like some of these people that can just pick something up and go.
Okay, so that just reminded me one more thing. One more thing. We're just gonna say that the rest of the day. It's like 8 o'clock. One more thing. I'm just kidding. Okay, so since you're a music guy, I meant to tell you at the variety show, we're going to be doing parody songs and parody music. Ditto Kiddo, which is one of Jeff Richards' characters. He makes like really crazy, fun, ridiculous music that I absolutely love. Like one of his songs is like, be optimistic, be optimistic. And then one of my other favorite lyrics, it was like, if you're not with me, then you're with me, or something. That might have been the wrong lyrics, but it's just like fun, goofy stuff. So anyways, Damien and Ben and I were talking about like we needed to do like an emo parody band for the variety show. So looking for more members.
So he already has the songs, so he could send the songs to the artists, the musicians that would learn it and play it at the variety show, so he can have a full band.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. No. So, like, for the parody band that I'm just talking about, like, the emo one, that will be, like, Damien said he wanted to do it. So, me, Ben, and if you want to in on the jam band with us for the variety show, it's all from scratch. We'll have to write and play it on the spot and come up with some crazy lyrics, or maybe just improv. I don't know. That's always fun, too.
Oh, interesting.
If you're feeling ballsy. But
that's a train wreck waiting to happen. I love it.
I know.
He's making up a song on the spot.
Well, not for the variety show. Hold on. Sometimes I'm not very practical. that would not work at all. No. Not in a band setting. Maybe by yourself. Like, that's how Dick Pic was written. It was just very... And then I was like, whoa, this is amazing, because it's just like 3 chords in it. And then I just sing it octave higher every verse. So Dick Pic is... I think hopefully somebody will, like, appreciate it for the I don't know. I feel like it's kind of genius. It's only 1 minute long. There's some really fun stuff in there. It kind of sounds like a marching band, like a fun song. There's like horses that neigh and like choir people. But anyways, the lyrics are, nobody wants to see that dick, especially if it's unsolicited. Nobody wants to see that shit, so don't send a dick pic. So, and then I just repeat that verse 3 times in an octave higher each time. And by the third voice, I think it's hilarious because I can't even hit those notes, and it's like so high, it's ridiculous. It makes it like a comedy song, so it's fun.
Nice. Heck yeah. I dig it. All right. Well, let's take this baby home. So people want to follow all your endeavors. What's the best avenue to take in Alex's content?
Right. Well, the Starletta Show on Instagram is my most active page, followed by Statements by Alex, followed by _original Alex Hunter, which is my modeling music basic Alex Hunter page. The Statements by Alex is for my jewelry and my tarot, human design, and astrology readings. Starletta Show is for the Starletta Show podcast. We have Omega X4.fratsor. So that's Omega X4.fratsor. So if anyone wants to follow Omega, they can do that. And then I'm also on TikToks. On what is my TikTok? I think it's the Starletta Show or Starletta's World. I forget. But also on YouTube, the Starletta Show podcast. But since we had a season 1 that was on another network, make sure you find mine. It's not my YouTube page is the Starletta Show. So
perfect.
Yeah,
the Starletta Show on YouTube. Remember that.
That's right. And they can also find Statements by Alex on YouTube. So if you're into tarot videos, I also just posted this killer video for free. I don't know why nobody's really watched it yet, but I'm super jazzed about it because I did this really long video that was talking about how I've used astrology to map out important launch dates. That's helped me reach a lot of my goals this past year that I've reached with the podcast. So if anyone wants free content like that, go to Statements by Alex YouTube, and there's good stuff like that. Also on Patreon, I know so many fucking
I love it. You need to. There's so much shit out there. You need to.
The Starletta Show on Patreon. Okay, so I think that the last thing I'm going to shout out. So
just message me all those tags and links and emails. That way I can put in the show notes and people can just go there.
Okay,
awesome.
I'll do that.
Well, thanks for coming all the way out here from BFE.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was such a blast because we tried to do this like 6 months ago. So and one more thing, 6 months ago, we also made the ayahuasca video, so we'll have to release that soon too, because that's almost done being edited. I know I'm a really slow editor.
It's so time consuming. Editing is the hardest. That's why I shoot my podcast the way I do, because editing in like a full on show and angles and all that is very, very time consuming. Yeah, it's just like making a movie. I mean, there's gonna be 900 hours of film for a hour and 20-minute movie, right? Exactly. So, guys.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Follow Alex or Starletta, whichever personality you subscribe to.
Yeah.
And come out to the Desmond on Wednesdays. All right. Cool.
Bye.
Check you guys later. Bye.